A faint light flickers in the suffocating darkness. This is Aron Ralston's story, a tale of unimaginable courage and the extraordinary lengths one man will go to cheat death in the unforgiving heart of the canyon. Blue John Canyon, a serpentine labyrinth carved into the sandstone of Utah's desert, had always beckoned to adventurers with its promise of solitude and challenge. For Aron Ralston, an experienced climber and outdoorsman, it was a siren song he couldn't resist. But the canyon, for all its stark beauty, held a dark secret, a hidden menace that lay in wait. Aron Ralston, a young man with a thirst for adventure that ran as deep as the canyons he loved to explore, was no stranger to risk. From a young age, he had sought out challenges, pushing his physical and mental limits in pursuit of that exhilarating rush of adrenaline. With each successful summit, each harrowing descent, his confidence grew, fueling his desire to push the boundaries even further. As Aron honed his skills in the Colorado wilderness, he developed a deep respect for the power of nature, its ability to both inspire and intimidate. He learned to read the subtle signs of changing weather patterns, to anticipate the hazards that lurked around every bend. Aron excelled in his pursuits, pushing his limits and achieving feats that seemed impossible to those who didn't share his unwavering determination. By the spring of 2003, Aron Ralston was working as an engineer in Aspen, Colorado, but his heart remained tethered to the wild. He continued to pursue his passion for climbing and adventure on weekends and holidays, seeking out new and increasingly challenging routes. He had no way of knowing that this journey, this seemingly routine adventure, would soon transform his life forever, testing his limits in ways he could never have imagined. Aron's truck, a testament to countless adventures with its dented exterior and dust-caked windows, rumbled to a stop at the trailhead. He hoisted his backpack, its weight familiar and reassuring, and set off down the trail. He entered the canyon's embrace, the sunlight fading as the walls narrowed, creating a sense of hushed anticipation. Deeper he ventured, the canyon walls becoming his constant companions, their striated surfaces a testament to the relentless passage of time. He moved with practiced ease, his body a symphony of strength and agility as he scrambled over boulders, waded through shallow pools of water, and squeezed through narrow passages barely wider than his shoulders. He felt a deep sense of peace, of being exactly where he was meant to be. Hours melted away as he continued his descent, the canyon walls becoming his only companions. He lost track of time, his internal clock replaced by the rhythm of his own breathing and the steady beat of his heart. He wedged his body into the narrow gap, his backpack scraping against the rough sandstone, his every movement slow and deliberate. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the passage widened and he emerged into a small, sun-drenched chamber. He began his ascent, his movements fluid and confident, his body a finely tuned instrument responding to the challenges of the climb. But as he reached a particularly narrow section where the canyon walls seemed to press in on him with suffocating force, a sickening feeling washed over him. The rock beneath his left hand, a seemingly solid protrusion he'd used to leverage his ascent, crumbled. He instinctively grabbed for purchase, his right hand clamping onto a chockstone wedged between the canyon walls. He was trapped, his body a prisoner of the very landscape he had sought to conquer. His initial panic subsided, replaced by a chilling awareness of his predicament. He was alone, miles from civilization, his cries for help swallowed by the unforgiving stone walls. He tried to move, to wriggle free from the boulder's grip, but the pain was excruciating. He assessed his situation, his mind clinging to logic in the face of despair. His supplies were meager, woefully inadequate for an extended ordeal, and the weight of the boulder, a crushing reminder of his predicament, showed no signs of relenting. Days turned into nights, the silence of the canyon broken only by the whisper of the wind. The pain in his arm, initially a searing agony, gradually morphed into a dull, throbbing ache, a testament to his body's remarkable ability to adapt, to compartmentalize. He lost track of time, his days and nights blending together in a hazy blur of pain, thirst, and hunger. His thoughts, once a lifeline to sanity, became fragmented, disjointed, the edges blurred by exhaustion and dehydration. He drifted in and out of consciousness, his dreams a surreal mix of reality and hallucination. He saw faces in the patterns of the canyon walls, heard voices in the whisper of the wind. He relived memories, both cherished and painful, each one a fleeting connection to the world beyond the confines of his stone prison. And then, in the midst of his despair, a flicker of defiance ignited within him. He refused to surrender to the darkness, to let the canyon claim him without a fight. He had a choice: to lie down and die, to let the crushing weight of his predicament extinguish the last embers of his spirit, or to fight, to claw his way back from the brink of oblivion. He remembered his life, his loved ones, the dreams he had yet to fulfill. He thought of the sheer improbability of his situation, the infinitesimal odds of finding himself trapped in such a way. And in that improbable moment, facing his own mortality, he found a wellspring of strength he never knew he possessed. He rationed his water with care, each drop precious in his fight for survival. He searched every nook for moisture, any source of sustenance. He ate crumbs from his backpack, a meager but vital source of energy. He tried to shift the boulder, to create movement. He chipped at the rock with his pocket knife, a determined effort. He knew his time was running out, his body was failing, his mind teetering on delirium. But deep within, a flicker of hope persisted. He refused to surrender to the darkness. He would find a way out, no matter the cost. As the sun rose and set, Aron Ralston clung to life, his spirit unbroken. He battled against despair, against nature, against human limits, and he was determined to emerge victorious. Time lost all meaning. Days and nights swirled together, a dizzying cycle of pain, thirst, and fading hope. Aron's trapped arm, now a mottled purple and black, throbbed in time with his weakening pulse. The stench of decay, the smell of his own dying flesh permeated the small space, a constant reminder of his desperate situation. Hallucinations, vivid and terrifying, danced at the edge of his consciousness. He saw his family, heard their voices calling his name, felt the phantom touch of their hands on his face. But each time he reached out, desperate for reassurance, they dissolved into dust motes, dancing in the beam of his headlamp. His meager rations were long gone. The last drop of water, a cruel tease on his parched tongue, had vanished days ago. His body, ravaged by dehydration and hunger, was beginning to shut down. He knew with a chilling certainty that the end was near. But even as death cast its long shadow over him, a spark of defiance flickered within his weary mind. He thought of his family, his friends, the life that pulsed beyond the confines of his stone tomb. He refused to die here, forgotten and alone, his story left untold. He would fight, even if it meant battling his own demons, his own mortality. A desperate plan, born of necessity and fueled by the sheer will to survive, began to take shape in his mind. It was a long shot, a gamble with unimaginable stakes, but it was the only option he had left. His gaze fell upon his multi-tool, a sturdy, reliable companion on countless adventures. He examined it closely, his fingers tracing the familiar contours of the pliers, the screwdriver, the saw blade. It was a tool designed for precision, for repair, for shaping the world around him. Now, it held the key to his survival, a glimmer of hope in the face of utter despair. His stomach churned at the thought of what he had to do. The pain, already a constant companion, would become unbearable. The risk of infection, of blood loss loomed large, but he had already accepted the possibility of death. This act of self-preservation was his only chance at life. With a deep breath, he steeled himself for what lay ahead. He positioned the blade against his mangled arm, the cold steel a stark contrast to the heat radiating from his swollen flesh. He closed his eyes, a single tear tracing a path through the grime on his cheek. This was it, the moment that would define him, that would forever separate his life into a before and an after. The silence of the canyon was shattered by a scream. Aron, in pain, bore down with his multi-tool, cutting deeper into his flesh. Each cut brought him closer to freedom. Blood stained the sandstone, a reminder of his struggle. He persisted, driven by a refusal to surrender. With a crack, the last sinews parted. He was free, but the fight was far from over. The details of Aron's escape from Blue John Canyon are the stuff of legend. Weakened, dehydrated, his body on the verge of collapse, he rappelled down a sheer 65-foot drop, his lifeline a makeshift harness fashioned from his climbing gear. He stumbled through the canyon, a phantom limb throbbing in the searing desert heat, his vision blurring, his mind playing tricks on him. He encountered a family hiking along a distant trail, a vision of hope in the desolate landscape. Their shocked faces, their frantic calls for help were a symphony of salvation. A helicopter, its blades a whirring beacon of hope against the vast blue canvas of the sky, appeared as if by some miracle. He was airlifted to a nearby hospital, his ordeal finally over, his life hanging precariously in the balance. The following days were a blur of surgeries, blood transfusions, and agonizing pain. He battled infections, endured grueling physical therapy. The phantom sensations in his missing arm, a constant reminder of his ordeal. But through it all, a spirit of resilience, a fierce determination to reclaim his life, burned bright. He learned to write with his left hand, to tie his shoes, to navigate a world that suddenly seemed both familiar and strange. He returned to the mountains, to the wilderness that had tested him in ways he could never have imagined. His prosthetic arm a symbol of his indomitable spirit. He shared his story, inspiring millions with his courage, his resilience, and his unwavering belief in the human spirit's ability to overcome even the most daunting challenges. Aron Ralston's story is a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a tale of survival against insurmountable odds. His ordeal in Blue John Canyon transcends adventure, delving into the core of what it means to be alive, confronting mortality, emerging scarred but unbroken. His story is one of extraordinary courage and human strength, a testament to the will to survive. Aron's journey is about the power of the human mind, to find hope in despair. His decision to amputate his own arm was a testament to his will to live, a conscious choice transcending the physical realm. Aron Ralston's story resonates far beyond Blue John Canyon. It speaks to the universal human experience of facing challenges and finding the strength to persevere. His story is a testament to the power of choice, even in the face of insurmountable odds. Aron chose life, to fight for every breath, every moment. His story challenges us to examine our own lives and perceptions. Remember his courage, resilience, and belief in the human spirit. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Oblivion Unlocked for more incredible stories of survival.